The Galactic Council had gathered for an emergency session. Ambassador Vex of the Terra Confederation nervously adjusted his breathing apparatus as he approached the speaking platform. Around him, representatives from across 67 star systems buzzed, chirped, and hummed in various states of agitation. "Fellow beings," Vex began, his translator's mechanical voice echoing through the vast chamber, "we face an unprecedented threat. The species designation HUMAN has destroyed another of our peacekeeping fleets. This marks the 7th such incident in 2 galactic cycles." A ripple of fear passed through the assembly. The crystalline delegate from the obsidian reaches shimmered darker. "How is this possible? We outnumber them 1,000,000 to 1. Our technology surpasses theirs by centuries." Vex manipulated his holographic controls, displaying tactical data. "That is precisely the problem. We think in terms of numbers and technology. They think in terms of war. While we developed meditation chambers and harmony crystals, they developed something far more dangerous. They developed warfare as a science." The tentacled representative from the Abyss world slithered forward. "Explain this warfare science." "Consider this," Vex continued, pulling up historical data. "When humans encountered their first minor predator, what they call a wolf, most species would have fled or developed defensive measures. Humans instead domesticated them, turning predators into allies. When they faced natural disasters, instead of adapting to live with them, they built shelters to resist them. When they discovered fire, they didn't worship it. They controlled it." The chamber fell silent. Such concepts were alien to most species present. But surely, the energy being from the solar collective pulsed, "Their primitive aggression is a weakness. Our advanced civilizations have evolved beyond such base instincts." Vex's exoskeleton shifted to a darker hue, the Tara equivalent of a grimace. "That is what we thought. 3 cycles ago, when they first achieved interstellar travel, we observed them. They seemed fragile, divided, constantly fighting among themselves. We assumed they would destroy themselves." The holographic display shifted to show a tactical scenario. The first contact was unfortunate. Commander Drell of the 3rd Exploration Fleet attempted to establish dominance, as is customary. The human vessel, little more than assembled scrap metal, was ordered to submit for standardization. "And?" prompted the crystalline delegate. "They responded by detonating their own reactor core as our boarding party approached. Instead of surrender, they chose mutual annihilation. This was our first lesson. Humans consider death preferable to subjugation." The assembled beings shifted uncomfortably. Mutual destruction was not a concept any had considered reasonable. "The second encounter," Vex continued, "taught us about human creativity. When the 5th battle group engaged a human colony ship, they discovered it wasn't truly a colony ship. The humans had weaponized their civilian vessels, turning farming equipment into ammunition, repurposing medical equipment into explosives. Even their children were trained in combat." A chorus of horrified sounds filled the chamber. "Barbaric," someone called out. "Yes," Vex agreed. "But barbaric in ways we couldn't predict. They don't follow the rules of engagement. They don't respect safe zones. They attack supply lines we never thought to defend because no civilized species would target food shipments or medical supplies." The energy being pulsed anxiously. "Surely our battle AI can compensate." "Our AI failed because it cannot predict the unpredictable. Human strategy involves something they call thinking outside the box. They create solutions that don't exist in any database. When we blockaded their home system, they sent a message. War isn't about who's right or wrong. War is about who's left." Vex manipulated the display again. "Look at their military doctrine. While we develop weapons of mass destruction, they develop what they call adaptive warfare. Every human is trained in multiple combat specialties. Their civilian populations are trained in guerrilla tactics. Even their entertainment, their stories, their games, their songs, all revolve around conflict, survival, and victory." The tentacled delegate slithered closer. "But we have shields, energy weapons, antimatter bombs, surely." Which brings us to the most terrifying realization. Vex interrupted. Humans are not the strongest species. They're not the smartest. They're not the fastest. But they are the most adaptable. They learn from every engagement. Each defeat makes them stronger. The chamber grew quieter. Even the constant humming of the hive minds had ceased. 3 cycles ago, our weapons could decimate human populations. 2 cycles ago, they had developed countermeasures. 1 cycle ago, they had reversed our technology and improved upon it, and now... Vex paused, his exoskeleton turning a pale green. Now they've done something none of us thought possible. What? The crystalline being demanded. They've united. All their tribes, all their factions, all their ideologies. They've set aside their differences to face what they call an external threat. For the first time in their history, humanity stands as one. Absolute silence filled the chamber. Esteemed colleagues, Vex concluded, I recommend immediate cessation of all hostilities with humanity. Not because we cannot win. We could still overwhelm them with sheer numbers. But because every day we continue this conflict, every engagement we survive, we teach them how to become better warriors. The holographic display showed a final image, a human flag bearing words in their language with a translation beneath. Don't mistake our kindness for weakness. The question before us, Vex said solemnly, is not whether we can defeat humanity. The question is whether we can afford to create an enemy that becomes stronger through adversity. They call themselves apex predators. Perhaps it's time we acknowledge that they're right. The vote was unanimous. The war with humanity ended that day, not through defeat, but through the recognition that some battles create worse enemies than they eliminate.